Here we go. Zac Gallen joining us right now on Foul Territory. Zach, good to see you. You
Dude.
hear us, right? You good?
Yeah, I got you guys. How
By
we
the
doing?
way,
Hey,
I don't mean
what?
this rudely at all, but look, I mean, it's like, I don't know. I feel like I'm with Rosenthal right now.
This guy's 6 inches off his chair over here.
Yeah.
Sit on a phone book.
I have a long
You
torso.
only got
my
platforms.
Really long
I
torso.
mean, a long day
There
of
you go.
me
Thank
going
you.
to
That's much
camp.
better.
I mean, my posture, whatever. All right.
Just be like, let me live my life. Anyway, with you,
Dude,
Zach, I'm
no,
curious.
Hold on, no, before you dig
What?
in. Hold on, no, before we even ask you. So he walked by earlier, okay? And he had a hood on, and he had like John Lennon glasses, and he had his hat pulled down like this, right? So he looked like this walking by. And it was like 7 in the morning, and he walks by, and I'm just like, hey. And so then he accused me of not knowing who he was, and I for 100% knew who he was because Mark, our producer, is here, goes, that was Gallen. And I go, yeah, I know. And he goes, why didn't you talk to him? I go, he was 3/4 asleep. What am I going to say? Like, hey, dude, wake up, go get some coffee, and come back. So, yeah, of course I knew who you were.
No, I'm calling BS on that one. I walked by.
Wow.
My hat was not. I never wear my hat down low. I did have a hood on and sunglasses, so I'll give you that. But I was like, AJ didn't realize it was
100%.
me. And then I get inside, and they're like, "Hey, they want you to go on the show." I'm like, maybe I won't go. I
Oh.
Well, it's good to see you, dude, and we recognize you now. And also, Kratz and I know who you are. So, anyway, are you one of those guys that's like, yeah, whatever, spring training, let's speed this up? I mean, you pitched a lot, right? Like over the years. I was actually just looking up. I'm like, how much did you pitch, like, say, in 2023 when you guys made it to the World Series? Almost 250 innings. Or you were like, hey, this team's really good. Let's just get my work in quick and start the real play.
Yeah, spring training is like, for me, it's like there's like 3 stages. It's like the beginning is like exciting, like all the boys are coming back, the fellas are in the clubhouse, we're hanging out, we're having a good time, and then the games start, and you're like, all right, cool, and you make your first start, and from a pitcher standpoint, I'm like, all right, this is fun, and then by like start 2 and 3, you're like, all right, I'm bored. And then the last like probably week to 10 days, you could smell opening day, and you're like kind of getting invigorated again. So that's kind of the ebb and flow for me over my last few spring trainings of like, I'm at that spot now where we're getting close to opening day, but it's still 2.5 weeks away. I'm like, all right, let's get this thing rolling.
Are you a Zach Greinke type in spring training? Do you tinker? Are you a tinkerer? Will you try like something crazy just to make sure it's on tape? Like, he used to throw the big eephus pitch in spring training.
No, I would always try and add something, but I've noticed over time I need to be smart about what I'm adding. I think last year I tried to add a breaking ball that went a little more left, and kind of screwed up my delivery a little bit. So try to be smart about what I'm adding, but I know at some point in time I'm not going to be 29 anymore. I'm going to have to
How many
have.
pitches can you have?
I mean, in a perfect world, I probably have 5 or 6. If I could throw a 2-seam and then get a slider that goes left, that's 6 pitches. I mean, I'm not going to be 29 throwing 95, and I'm going to get old at some point, so I got to adapt or die. That's kind of where I'm at.
Okay.
No, pitchers don't ever need to adapt. They play way longer than position players, especially athletic pitchers from the north like you. You don't even have that many miles on you yet. So free agency is going to be your oyster. The world is going to be your oyster. Are you looking forward to it?
Looking forward to it is an interesting way to put it. I'm embracing it. I think I've been getting that question a lot about the mental side of free agency. I've been treating it a lot like the draft coming out of college. I think if you ignore what's at stake, you're doing yourself a disservice. But I think if you're also like really kind of geared up for it, you're also doing yourself a disservice. So like I'm just embracing the fact that I worked really hard in my career, worked really hard in this spot of my life from my family to get to this point in my life and our journey. So for me, I'm just embracing it and just going to try out and go be healthy and pitch well.
Have you talked to Corbin about it?
Corbin Burnes? No, not really. We haven't talked about it at all.
Does he taught you the cutter?
Soon I'm gonna get. But it goes back to my conversation of tinkering too much. I might get out of whack. But yes, that is a pitch I would be very intrigued and very interested in learning.
Teach you how to,
yeah,
right. Hold the glove like on his side over here and wiggle it. We don't know. We're not showing it. So
I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm
He's
gonna.
like this.
I'll bother him in once the season starts. I'm letting him do his thing right now. Get settled. Once the season starts, then I'll start picking his brain a little bit more and seeing what he's got.
How excited were you that when the Diamondbacks signed him? Because you
Yeah.
were kind of the ace, and now you bring in another ace, and now you have two aces.
Yeah, I was ecstatic. Really, I think I kind of knew a couple hours early benefits of having the same agent, that it was something that could legitimately happen. And I knew just how close we were last year, and just injuries, things like that. And I've known Corbin now for a couple of years, the type of competitor he is, type of, like, the workhorse he is. So I was ecstatic. And just kind of looking back to teams that tend to do really well, comes to the playoffs, and winning World Series, they have a lot of really good pitching. So for me, I was pumped about it, just to have another guy, to be able to shoulder the load with the rest of the guys we have in that clubhouse is awesome.
Real quick, and then we'll let the TV audience go to their commercial and all that. But did you have any say in the recruiting, or you just found out about it after? Okay,
I just found out about it. I kind of was under the impression he was going to go somewhere else, so I didn't even bother. Like, I knew he wanted to come here. He'd expressed that interest. A lot of guys have. I mean, I think just the culture we have here, and the simplicity and the logistics of playing here and living here. But no, I had no. I probably would have screwed it up. So maybe it was a good thing that I did. That I didn't.
More in a minute, but first, a quick word from our sponsor of this video.
Kratz, do you like spending an hour on grocery shopping?
Nope. Speed up the process, please.
Introducing Hungry Root to the FT fam.
Now we can all be bougie with our own personal shopper to handle the food shopping, including recs based on what you're looking to put in your body.
I stack my Hungry Root box with items like gluten-free, dairy-free blueberry waffles for breakfast, shrimp veggie bowls for lunch, and a little filet mignon with potatoes and broccolini for dinner.
You can also say just, hey, Hungry Root, I eat paleo, or I'm vegetarian, and they load up your cart with personalized recommendations.
And those recs keep evolving as they learn about what you're into. Also, no BS, as in no artificial sweeteners or preservatives in any of Hungry Root's food. You're going to love Hungry Root as much as FT does. Take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/FT and use code FT. That's hungryroot.com/FT, code FT, to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life.
And now back to the video.
Zach, obviously you guys have had success. I mean, even last year, you're an 89-win team. Year before, you make it to the World Series. So you're confident in the ball club that you have. Do you feel like the addition of Corbin to play off what they're saying makes you guys, a very legit World Series contender, and that you can keep up with, frankly, a National League that looks more talented than the American League? I mean, Dodgers, Braves, Phillies, Mets, etc.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, like you said, we were an 89-win team last year with a lot of guys missing a significant guys missing a significant part of the season. I mean, you lose Merrill for 3-4 months. You lose Erod for 3-4 months. I went down for a month. Like, Marte missed a month. I mean, you're talking about, guys who grinded out 89 wins. So from a talent standpoint, I think, we absolutely got better with the addition of Corbin Burnes. Obviously, losing Walker and Jock is tough, but, you fill that right back in with Naylor. And I think, big things out of Pavin this year. So, and our bullpen, you had Puck at the deadline, some guys like Graveman and Shelby Miller. And then, in addition to the guys we have here already, like, I'm excited for this year. This is probably, on paper, I would say, the most talented team I might have ever played on in my career. Definitely in, I would say, professional baseball. So, I'm really excited for this year and to see what's to come.
I mean, you want to finish the season with parade. Does it mean anything else different when you're going for a parade at the end of the season and you watch the Eagles parade? Like, do you look at it differently going into your year here with the Diamondbacks?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what everyone sets out to do, is to finish the year with a parade. So we were super close 2 years ago. And then obviously, like you said, I just saw my Eagles, celebrate down Broad Street. So for me to be able to be a part of a parade of my own, especially in a city here who's been longing for a championship for 20 plus years, I think it would be super fun. I think it would really be a testament to the culture and just the vibe that we just have kind of, accumulated here. It's been a lot of fun, and so we'll see what happens.
By the way, Did you mention any position players and guys that missed time? Oh, Cattell.
Yeah.
I didn't. You didn't mention your catcher. You always got to mention your catcher. Moreno missed some time. You don't forget.
Walker missed some time.
Yeah.
Well, I could have been standing on the soapbox, been like, I mean, everybody was legitimately hurt, so that would have been most of the segment. If I would have been like, yeah, Gabby was hurt, Walk was hurt. We had some guys miss some time. I mean, so it's not easy, but we had guys grind it out, and I think that's just what that just shows you what that clubhouse is made of in there.
Bigger Eagles fan, you or Trout?
I think Trout probably.
Really? Do you have season tickets?
No.
Why not?
I would be a ginormous Eagles fan if I had tickets like Trout. I'd be sitting right there on the. No, I'm a big Eagles fan.
It's not like you can't afford it.
Yeah, I mean, this is true.
Are you in Trout National?
That's funny you say that. I actually just was talking to Trout the other day about potentially being in there. So I don't know. We'll see. I spend most of my off season out here. My fiance is from here. We live out here full time. So being back home for Eagles games, I try to get to like at least one on the East Coast. Just depends on when we're home. So, but yeah, I'll give Trouty he's probably a bigger fan than me. But I'm still an Eagles fan. I still wore an AJ Brown jersey, and 2 days after the Super Bowl.
That works. You can encompass everything. You love golfing. You and Trout are from Jersey. He's opening a new course. You about to get married, so maybe you can talk to Mike about, hey, I'll buy a membership that I don't need for a few years, but let me have my wedding at the new wedding venue that he's going to have on his course. So talk to the boys. Tell them South Jersey love.
So Trout and I play for the same travel team. He's a few years older than me.
What was that team called? Arsenal?
Tri-State Arsenal.
God, yep. Nailed that.
We were Arsenal. Yeah, how'd you know that?
My kid went through the travel ball circuit.
Yeah, we were Arsenal guys. Trout was actually at my college, like the NLI, whatever, the thing that they do at high school. They did like a whole big one for all my teammates. Trouty was there. It was the year after he won the Rookie of the Year, I think it was. So it was cool. We came back, hung out. But yeah, we're getting married in Cabo, so I don't think I don't think it's going to be in New Jersey.
Let me see. Cabo, Jersey.
In the winter time. In the winter time.
Cabo, Jersey. I think I'm going to pick Cabo. I don't know. Sorry, Kratzy. Sorry, Scott.
All right.
Did you know Trout was going to be good?
Was
he the Todd Frazier of your era in the Jersey area?
I remember. So Arsenal didn't have Little League teams. I was on the first. Me and all my friends were on the first Little League team. They did 13 and older. So we had the same coach that coached Trout like on the way up, and we remember him talking about Mike, and he's like, "Yeah, this kid," and we're like, and then you get older, and it's like, okay, now he's a junior in high school, senior in high school, and it's like 20 scouts of these games, 30 scouts of these games. So we kind of knew, and then the first thing when it kind of clicked, when I was like, oh, this guy must be legit, was he was like, I'm going to Secaucus for the draft, like for his thing, and I'm like, oh, all right, like this guy's gonna be a first rounder. So yeah, we kind of knew, like he was in the facility every day, and so yeah, and then now you see, it's kind of crazy to see.
You better get that invite. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, we talked about it. I mean, we'll have to see.
Who did I see the other day that got the whole thing that opened up?
Weaver
got like this whole. It was like,
whole thing.
Like this whole.
Did he post it on social media?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, I'll have to take a look at this.
Yeah, it's like this whole thing, like welcome to Trout National membership, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
blah,
I mean,
blah.
I'm not. I mean, we'll see. I don't know how
you
much
take
I'm
him out of
supposed to
the
be
course
talking.
and say-
I don't know if I'm talking about it right now. He might be like, "Hey, you're out." Like we don't want that.
No, it's not like Fight Club.
He loves our show.
Yeah.
It might be exclusive. I don't know. I'm not. I mean, can't.
How about
You're
this?
a guy.
How about we go play golf? If I beat you, I'm in. If you beat me, I'm out.
All right, we'll see.
I think you could win that fight, right? How about if you face him
think
this year
he's
and you go, if I punch you out, then I'm in.
I think he's a better than me, honestly.
Really?
I think so.
Aren't you like a scratch?
No.
Oh, I thought you were like a scratch.
No, I'm like an 8. I think he's like a 3.
Oh, wow.
Merrill's a good golfer. He before he had his kids, he was probably a scratch.
Really?
Yeah.
Is he the best golfer here?
At this point in time, yeah. When Barry Enright was here, it was a different
Oh,
story.
he's good.
Unbelievable.
Ooh.
Unbelievable. Him and Carson Kelly, really good. Carson's another good golfer. He's probably +1, +2.
Wow.
So yeah, I they give me, I get shots, but sometimes I don't do with them what I should. So I wind up losing money anyway. So yeah.
Hey,
I
Zach,
don't know.
question for you. Somehow I'll get us back to a little bit of baseball talk to finish.
Yeah,
as much
what-
as I can
what
talk
are we
golf
He doesn't
all
even
day.
want to talk about
Yeah.
baseball. Let's talk about golfing. And
AJ has a golf show. Yeah, it's called Green Territory or whatever. Anyway, Corbin Carroll last year struggled for 4 months. Shows like us, we're trying to figure it out, and everyone's like, is he hurt? Whatever. It didn't seem like that was the case. And then he looked like himself for the last couple months. Curious for someone like you, obviously being in the league for a minute, I know you're not a position player, what that was like for you to watch someone who had such early success in the big leagues, get the contract extension, get to the World Series, and you expect him to be an MVP candidate the next year, actually go through the classic sophomore slump. Like, what did it look like from your perspective? And is he a guy that, was open to combos, or kind of just kept his head down and was like, I'm going to figure this out on my own?
Yeah, he was definitely for sure open to combos. I remember like talking to him a little bit just from a pitcher's standpoint of like, I think just from the outside looking in of like just kind of was observing him from afar. Like it seemed to me that Corbin had a really good rookie year and learned the hard lesson that we're all human and that trying to improve. Like I've been guilty of it too. Like, oh, I have a really good year. All right, cool. I think I have everything mastered. I'm going to try and add another pitch. And I think from Corbin's standpoint, it was like, okay, I had a really good year. I won the Rookie of the Year. I finished top 5 in the MVP. I'm going to now try and cover a pitch that had been giving me trouble. So I think walking that fine line of I know what I do really well, I know what I don't do well, and trying not to sway one way or the other, I think is kind of what, at least just from conversations with Corbin, like might have went on. But he was definitely open to conversation. I mean, I remember, Jock was talking to him a lot. I was talking to him just from in terms of a pitcher standpoint, just, how hard it is to locate at the spots that he has trouble, that he was like struggling trying to hit. It's like, hey, just make the pitcher prove to you he's going to hit that spot 3 times in a row. It's a hard thing to do. So just trying to give him confidence from that. But I mean, he looks like he's, he figured it out in the second half, and he's been on absolute fire in spring training. So Corbin's a guy who's very cerebral, and I think he is going to be just fine.
What's your best pitch?
Probably my curveball.
Your curveball. If
Yeah.
you had to get somebody out, and you had one pitch, it would be your curveball.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I've never. I don't know if I've. I mean, maybe Barry Zito I heard say that before, but curveball is usually not. Especially in today's game, you don't hear people say, "Man, I'm going to rip a curveball."
Like for me, I think I'm really good when I'm pitching off my fastball. I think a lot of teams know that. So like when I'm obviously commanding the fastball, it's gonna just like anyone else. But if I had a bases loaded jam with like 2 outs, and you're gonna have to try and hit my curveball at some point. Like it'd be hard for me to eliminate that pitch.
All right, Zach, I've got one more for you. We've asked a few others at camp today about this topic, and I want to preface it that we ask it with respect. I want to know your thoughts on the Dodgers offseason. You're like, well, we're the Diamondbacks. Why do I care? Well, because you guys took them down a couple years ago. Your team is looked at as a club that could slay the dragon, whether it's in the division or later on in the playoffs. So do you look at that team and feel like even when you face them in the regular season, there's more juice to it, there's more motivation based on now winning a World Series, which they did, and how much ammo they've added to their roster?
I think there's definitely more juice. I don't know. I think when you play teams in your division who you have a rivalry against, it's teams you're playing. Used to be 19, now it's 13 times a year. I think there's always going to be an added level of juice just because it's an in division rival. And obviously. It's no secret they went out and spent a lot of money, which from a player standpoint, I'm glad they did that. It's good for the players, good for the game that they're trying to go out there and put the best product on the field they possibly can. And I mean, I think my sentiment when playing them hasn't changed over the last 4 or 5 years. Is that if you want to accomplish what you want to accomplish, which ultimately ends in a parade at the end of the year, you're going to have to go through the best teams and right now on paper, they're probably the best team in baseball. But as we know, baseball is a game that can't be played on paper. So we're still going to show up and we're going to play the game and see what happens. I think for us, we proved to ourselves in 23 that, we're not intimidated. It's a game of baseball. We can play our brand and still win and see what happens. So I think for us, that was kind of a calming effect for this group in that clubhouse going forward.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.